In this tutorial, we'll be covering purchase orders. The first area we'd like to look at is your setup for PO approval groups. And to do that, you would go to System Configuration Options. And to access it, go through Management and then System Options. The PO approval groups are here, and they allow you to set up a group with a name, a department, a minimum value for approval, and a maximum value. And you can make each of these groups active or inactive by checking the box here. The next area we'll look at is departments. And for each purchase order, you can assign a department, and that department can be linked to an office. And if you have multiple offices, then your department name and your office can correspond. And once again, you have the ability to make those active or inactive. The next area is PO types. And we can assign a number of PO types that can be utilized for purchase of equipment and also for sub-rental, cross-rental, labor. And in this area here, if it is a purchase, then you would check the box here, and that would put in the additional panel for need buy and return buy. If it's a purchase, or if it's a rental rather, it will of course have the need buy, return buy. In the PO type for sale or purchase, it would have just the need buy. So now that we have the configurations done here under purchase orders for the approval groups, departments, and PO types, the first thing we're going to look at is how you would purchase equipment to add to your inventory. So in the product area, I'm just going to look at one of these products here, in this case, the Shure SM57 LC cardioid. And in order to purchase additional items for this serialized product, we can utilize the plus symbol here and where we're adding a new purchase order. The purchase order contains status, and of course in here it's open, confirmed, closed, received, or returned, canceled, billed, or paid. The order date, requested by, and the type of PO. So in this case, we're going to look at this as being a purchase. And as you can see, our return by panel has disappeared since this is a purchase. And add in the tech and an approval department. So in here, we're going to look at purchase and where the job is located. This can be utilized if you're dealing with a job that is a sub-rental and you want to state the state or the location of the delivery. This job number here, we're not going to use it here in this instance, but if you were doing a cross-rental, you could put in the job number reference so that in the ship to, you can have this delivered to the job site. The product tax rate, and if there's a labor tax rate here, you can add a manual shipping cost. And we can certainly then select our vendors. And here we'll pull in one of our vendors. And right now, we're going to add in the need buy date, which is going to be today by 1800. And the vendor is going to deliver to our AC warehouse. So we'll save that. And down here, we're going to select the product And in this case, not by job number, but we're going to search by the actual product. So our product here, sure, SM 57, and we can search, and there's our product. And we're going to select two of these, and we'll add the selected. So we're going to go back to our product screen here, and there we can see the microphone. It's coming in, and in this case, I'm going to change the price because we're purchasing, and we're all set to go. Product total, and in this case, we've got shipping and our tax and the total for the PO. We can save that. And right now, this is not approved, so we can submit this for approval. And I'm just going to go in on my other screen, and I'll approve the PO request. And if I reset here, I have an approved PO. So when I print the PO, I will actually have a PO number as opposed to the words unapproved. So the PO approval process is optional and can be added along with the PO approval groups. Now, just to show you what that particular approval looks like, I have another PO that's been set up here, and it is pending. And there is an amount of gear on here that requires this PO get approved. Now, here's what the approval email looks like. And I'm just going to click here. And what you see is the details of the PO, the action dates. There would be notes if notes have been added to the PO. And we can enter comments here. And at the bottom, you can see the approved request or deny request. And that's it. Nice and simple. And we come back here, reset the page, and our approval is indicated here, and the date and time it was done, and of course, the required level. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is how we would take an item from a job and add it to a PO. And in this case, we're going to add an item that is on this job, and it's required, say, as a cross rental. So we're going to take this camera package here, and all we have to do for this single item and its package items, edit the package, and at the bottom here you can see add to PO. And what we're going to do is, in this case, our quantity is 1. The PO price for this is going to be $175. And it's a 2-day rental. And the code we're going to say is going to be an expense. And in this case, we have an option to either select adding to a new PO, or we can select a particular PO that we want to perhaps add this onto. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to add this to a new PO. So we'll go ahead and add in the information that we need. And in this case, it's rental. And it's picking up the dates. Now, I'm going to add in the job number so that we can have this delivered direct to the job site. And we hit apply. We're going to select a department. And we can obviously add in our shipping costs. And if there is tax on this, you can add that in there. And what job, you can add the state for where the job is being delivered. In this case, I'm going to back it off a date. So we'll say on the 14th. And at 0800. And we're going to have it delivered direct to job site. So it's picked up the job site information from our actual job. And in the return, we're going to stretch that out to the next day. And we're going to return direct to vendor. I don't have a vendor here. Let me just add the vendor in. And there we go. Save that. And now we should be able to add in our vendor. So it's going to go direct to job site and then back to the vendor. Now, if we scroll down a little further, we will see the camera package and all the items that we've added are on the job here. And we've got our pricing. So this PO is just about ready to go. Let's have a look at another method of adding our products. So if we go back into our job site, and we'll just click on the link down the bottom here. Now, the next way we can add items to our PO is from the overbookings. And in the overbookings, we can select items from the list here. And we're just going to click Add to PO. And instead of adding it to a new PO, we're going to send it to the one we were just working on, PO number 863. And those items have been added to our purchase order. And all we're going to do right now is just go in and add some pricing to this. And as you can see, we've got the list price that we're charging on the job, and this is the price that's going on our PO. If we wanted, we can add an accounting code in here, and all we have to do is select the particular accounting code that we want to add in. Once we're done, we can save the PO, and we would go ahead and submit for approval. And if we were to print this PO now, it would show as being a not approved PO, but all the items are there along with the totals. Now, you can add notes to your PO, and here we have external notes. So we could or we can do internal notes. And save it. And that's how we would use our purchase order to add items that have been directed from the jobs line items. And also, we can go in here and we can select products from the job and we can add them in. Just by searching, and then we can checkbox any of the items that we'd like added to that particular job. So if we go back in here, we do have all the items that we've added to the job. And in this case, if I've got an item I don't need, I can, of course, just remove it by clicking here on the X, and that'll remove the items. Or if you want to select multiple lines, you can do that and use the delete checked button. Now, on labor and taking labor from our job and adding it to a PO, we can certainly do that very easily by going into our job and the labor lines. And in this case, we're going to expand to the full grid. And you'll see at the far right, there's the ability here to add labor from this PO number column here. So we're going to add this to a brand new PO. And we'll just simply hit go now. We can select an accounting code here before we do that. And all the information is part of this panel here, and we'll add it to a brand new PO. And if there's tax on labor, we would add it in here. Any shipping costs, and right now we'll go ahead and we'll select our vendor. And here we're going to put in the job number. And the end date. And that's how we would add our labor. And if we scroll down a bit here and click on the labor tab, we can see the labor call here. Now I'm going to adjust our rate. and that has added our labor in from the job. Now, the next method of doing this addition of labor is to click here, select labor, and we're going to select from the job. So we simply key in the job number, and we search, and it'll show us all our labor that may require a PO. And we're going to add that selected. And now when we look at the labor screen, we have the addition of our labor. We can adjust the hourly. And when we're done, hit save. And we'll print this. And as you can see, it's fully detailed with the quantity, the account number, if there is one, the part, or in this case, the task, the description, the job number, the duration, the price, and a subtotal, and our total line here. And there's also the information pertaining to the site up here. It is stated as not approved. And of course, we can once again submit PO for approval. And as soon as that comes through, this PO will be good to go. So we've looked at adding PO from the job product page, from the labor page, and of course, we've also looked at selecting products using the job number, selecting products by product, and selecting labor from a specific job number. You can also search by talent, and you can also search by personnel. Now, in the next lines here, we have payment. If we are recording a payment that has been submitted for this particular purchase order, 864, so we can record a payment here. And we're going to say it's a check. And we'll say we're sending them $600. And we'll save it. And then we can apply it. As you see at the very bottom, it says remaining 600 to apply. And all we do is select this line and then auto apply. And we're good to go. So if you notice, we have our $600 payment here. And if we go back to PO 864 and we look at our payments, we'll see the payment distribution. And up top in the total stack here, you can see the payment of $600 has been made, and there is the payment ID. Now, the receiving process for our equipment, and we can do that, select our PO, Now we've got our Shure microphones, and as you can see, there is the receive 0 of 2. We're going to click on the dolly here to receive them. And in this case, we can put in a prefix, and we can put in a sequence, and a postfix, and then we'll generate. And we can put in a serial number if one's available. And add. And that's it. We've received 2 of 2. And if we were to go into our product, and there are the 2 items we've just received. So if we click to edit the unit record, we can see clearly the vendor, the date we purchased, and the purchase price. And of course, the receipt PO with the link, barcode, serial number, and the warehouse we received them into. Now, some of the other reporting that you'll want to be familiar with, in the inventory section, and we have purchase orders, and this provides us a list of purchase orders. We can search by the actual PO number, by the vendor, and our report is guided by the from date to date, the status, the approved status, created by, so if we want to look at a specific person that had created the PO, requested by, and the department. To go and examine the PO rather quickly, or as it's indicated here, take a peek, we just simply click the magnifying glass, and that will give us a peek into the actual PO. To edit the PO, we would click on the pencil. That'll take us directly into the PO. Reporting for purchase orders is under inventory, and there is a PO detail report here. And the detail report can once again be set up by a date range. And it can be filtered by PO types and the PO status, accounting code if one's been applied, and department. So that is the PO detail report. We scroll across, you can see that there is quite a bit of detail contained in the report, along with products, the quantity, the price, the related job number, an invoice, the invoice date, any vouchers if you're using the voucher system, and the POs will show specifically all vouchered items. Project, accounting code, received quantity, voucher quantity, the subtotal, voucher margin, tax total, paid, balance due, and notes. So it's a very, very comprehensive purchase order detail report. The next item is under inventory, and this is the PO approval status. And this is where folks that are waiting, say, for approval on their PO, they can look at this report and see what has been approved and, you know, if it hasn't or if it's pending. Denied, modified, or all. And once again, a date range. The next area is the PO receipt report, and that's under reports, inventory. And right down the bottom, we have the purchase order receipt report. And that's a summary, as it says, of purchase order status and count. Date range. And here we have the ability to go in, search by job number, search by the PO type, status, and accounting code. From this point, we can, of course, go in and edit the PO by clicking on the pencil, and our PO detail, vendor, quantity, and these are the individual items from each of the POs. That concludes our tutorial for today. I hope you found it informative. Thank you very much for your attention.